Let's get Yurified.
You naughty little horn dog, you. So it looks like we're doing another top 10 video today, but instead of counting down my personal favorite characters, we're going to objectively count down the lewdest, thirstiest girls inhabiting the Yuri genre. Certainly a massive undertaking, that's for sure. So just for a little context, I got the idea after watching WatchMojo's very own Top 10 Thirstiest Anime Girls video. So then I thought to myself, well, this could use some improvement. So as you'd expect, we're gonna do a Yuri equivalent video today. And speaking of that WatchMojo video, I won't be including one of the Yuri characters from it. That being Kuroko from the Railgun franchise, as I have no exposure to this series whatsoever. Oh, and I also couldn't get Todd Habercorn to voice this video, unfortunately. I'm sure he would have loved it. Anyway, aside from Railgun, I do have extensive knowledge on anime and Yuri anime as a whole, but I was still pretty surprised by the amount of thirst in the Yuri genre. I mean, it's pretty common knowledge that anime is filled with perverts. And the character is also pretty perverted too. But still, anyway, before we begin, I want to set some ground rules. Unlike the characters in this video, I personally have to draw a line. First of all, I will not include any lolicons, for obvious reasons. Which means characters such as Haruka from Kanamemo and Tsubame from Uzumade will not be on this list. Instead, they can be on a pedophile list. Haha, I'm so funny. And finally, just one character per franchise. Anyway, let's dive in, shall we? Number 10. Druj. The great Jahi will not be defeated. Our first chart topper is also a part of what I'm calling the Triad of Masochists. Don't worry, the other two will be coming up shortly. And being a part of a highly distinguished group like that means that this girl is no stranger to some tough love from her beloved second-in-command of the Dark Realm, Jahi. Calling Druj a simp would be a massive disservice, and that's cause she would actually refer to herself as a triple S-tier platinum card holder super simp. This of course causes her to be none the wiser about Jahi's less than stellar circumstances, who continues to lead Druj on with her wacky charlatan antics. No amount of harassment or physical turmoil can make her turn heel. If anything, that's as good as any reward you can give her. Her thirst also shines through when you place any girl between her and the love of her life. And I'm sure a girl who can take as much punishment as her can subsequently dish out as much.
今、なんと？いや、これにはいろいろあってな。ジャヒー君は私をたくさん愛してくれると言ったんだ。妄想も大概にしてください。
So yeah, a tale of a sexy beast and her sexy subordinate. And given enough time, maybe Druj's hard work will eventually land her that sweet, small demon ass. I would say let the girl finally get her rocks off, but I'm sure that has happened a few times already. Number 9. Matsumoto Koko. Wata 10. Almost everything you can say about Druj can be applied to Matsumoto. Just add a little bit of stalking to the mix, and you got someone who can give Slenderman a few pointers. I joke, of course, but you can't help but feel a little bit anxious for Miyako, the object of Matsumoto's fanatical affection. But then again, you could say that's the universe enacting its own ironic brand of karmic justice. Both girls have much more in common than they realize, and I ain't just talking about their jail cell. I mean, I don't completely blame Matsumoto for falling for Miyako. She definitely has her good points. However, for Miyako's own tastes, well, let's just say it needs to age a bit like a good fine wine. Anyway, as a self-proclaimed rival and best friend to Miyako, Matsumoto gets some amazing perks, such as walking past her house every day, naming her dog after her, getting free access into her room, and receiving friendship cookies from her.
Miyako-san, hasayo.
So take this as a lesson, boys and girls. If you want to be promoted from stalker to close friend, make sure to be assertive and close the gap. That way, they definitely won't say no for an answer. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. Number 8. Ukai Midori. Uza Maid. I'm starting to see a pattern here. So, what do you get when you combine the prominent traits of the previous two entries? Unsurprisingly, you get the second member of the Triad of Masochists, Midori. When your show has two resident perverts, you know they both have to do some heavy lifting. Oh, hey. I just made a bodybuilding joke there, huh? Anyway, I still think back on Midori and Tsubame's meeting together with a hearty belly laugh. Once a distinguished member of the Japan Air Defense Force, our sad and sexy heroine was knocked down a peg by an even sexier but less sad heroine. And just like the dogs she trained, Midori became forever loyal to her handler, and any amount of rejection or looks of disapproval became a gateway for her into obscene pleasure. Once again, can't really fault her for her taste in women completely. I mean, Jesus, I want to be punished too, mommy. So yeah, if you ever think to yourself, God damn it, the person I like keeps rejecting me, try to be like Midori and find the pleasure in life's hardships. Hashtag what would Midori do? Number 7. Ichinomiya Eruna, Mikagura School Suite. Now, I'll be honest, I'm having a hard time remembering the details of this anime despite watching it twice. It's some kind of superpower anime that takes place in a high school, and I think some superpower fights happen as well. And this is where I want to give a quick shout out to a person I deeply admire. OG from the Yuri Empire, formerly known as the Yuri Nation. His website is a repository of everything Yuri, and it's thanks to his recounting of Yuri anime episodes that I'm able to make this list, to be honest. I also wouldn't have heard of half the Yuri anime I know today if it wasn't for him. So yeah, much respect. The link to his site is in the description, so show him some love. Anyway, what I do remember about Mikagura is the glorious protagonist known as Ichinomiya Eruna. Where do I even begin with her? Right from her introduction, you get a snippet of her true power, and her lust for cute girls isn't just limited to 2D. Almost every single lady at Mikagura High School is fair game to her, and when she's on the prowl, you better believe she doesn't pull any punches.
おはようございます。あ、蝶々さん、遊びに来たのですか？おとねちゃん！ミツバチエルナちゃんがおとねちゃんのピュアなハートをチックンしに来たよ。ねえねえ、おとねちゃんにおすすめの部があるんだけど入らない？
Eruna pretty much checks all the boxes of a typical horny anime teenager, but with a glaring exception of not being a guy. So she gets bonus points. Aside from having fantasies constantly, she also hits on every potential mate, has frequent nosebleeds, and admires the assets of her targets. But unlike most anime deviants, Eruna practices an incredible amount of restraint. I often dub her as the suave pervert, a being who makes it loud and clear what their lewd intentions are, but never crosses that line into physical territory unless properly consented, which is also why she isn't higher on this list. Number 6. Kushitori Madoka, Chio-chan's School Road. Have you heard of the pastime known as kabaddi? If not, Madoka-senpai can show you. All you have to do is relinquish your body to her and be a girl. This crazy-ass anime delivers on all the absurdity and raunchy humor. A fraction of it is dished out by the captain of the kabaddi club, Kushitori Madoka. When you're calling on life for girls in contact sports, you get quite a number of career options, like ice hockey, rugby, judo, mud wrestling, and foxy boxing. But some highbrow elites choose the illustrious world of kabaddi, and God bless Madoka for keeping the kabaddi spirit alive. So if you haven't guessed by now, Madoka likes touching girls. A lot. And boy howdy, does she take that to extremes. I actually can't think of a longer fantasy sequence of someone grabbing ass than Madoka's. A full-blown minute and 20 seconds. Not even the Met Gala has that kind of firepower. A true master at the craft, this girl takes every opportunity to have a jolly old time getting touchy-feely with Manana, Yuki, and of course Chio. To think she nearly got a taste of those three as their own commando is truly frightening. As long as it stays PG-13, it's A-OK, because after all,
女子高生に触れるのは女子高生の特権なのじゃぞ。
Number 5. Dancho, Million Arthur. So just like Mikagura School Suite, I had a bit of a memory block on this anime. However, I do remember the former anime being at least good, and this one being fairly mediocre at best. But dagnabbit do they have a lot of similarities, one of which are their main characters. Take everything you know about Eruna, and add about 20% more perversion, and 30% more body fat, and you get Dancho Arthur, the leader of a ragtag group of time-traveling heroes. She makes her mark as an energetic go-getter who never misses an opportunity to wow a pretty girl in her general vicinity. However, her success rate is much lower than Eruna's. You can definitely say that she comes on a bit too strong with her tactics. And also, unlike Eruna, Dancho does get into physical territory, and that ends as well as you expect.
そんな団長さんしっかりして。泣かないで。君の胸で死ねるなら私は本望だから、せめて最後に別れの銃を。もう嫌。
Now, of course, it's good to know that perverts, no matter their gender, are treated with the appropriate amount of discipline. I mean, the crew really tell it to Dancho how it is, and you'd think she'd learn by now. Regardless, you can't keep a good Arthur down. After all, you don't get to be leader of a super fighting squad without having unbreakable determination. It says so in her Tinder profile. Number 4. Kasugano Urara, Saba Gebu. And now we come to our final member of the triad of masochists. Don't be fooled by her sweet and innocent demeanor. This girl pecks a mean wallop, and she really appreciates it when Momoka pecks her a mean wallop too. Urara must have taken a page from another pink-haired Yuri icon, and showed that a cute package can also come with a dark side. Once she experienced Momoka's fiery retribution, a switch was flipped inside of her, and from then on, passions flared up from all things painfully physical, much to Momoka's chagrin.
桃花様のパンツ。桃花様の弱さ。旅先で浮かれる小学生かっつーの。
For the longest time, this was quite possibly the most extreme example of Yuri S&M in anime. Don't worry, we'll get to the most extreme in just a few minutes. But yeah, Urara really give Druj and Midori a run for their money. And she takes this shit pretty seriously too. If you wanna give her a good spanking, you better goddamn put your heart and soul into it, or you're gonna get a firm talking to by the International League of Masochists. And believe it, we don't tolerate anything less than your best whooping at the ILM. Number 3. Miyamae Kanako, Maria Holic. So here's a bit of a blast from the past. To be honest, this is one of the first Yuri anime I've ever watched. No surprise given how old it is. It's not a great anime by any means, but it will always hold a special place in my heart as a historic milestone. Anyway, what's also historic is how cartoonishly perverted the main character is. Like old school perverted. I'm talking about the likes of Brock, Jiraiya, and Master Roshi. The good old days. You'd be hard pressed to find a single scene in the anime where Kanako isn't having salacious thoughts about the girls around her. It's also important to note that the anime takes place at a Catholic girls' school, a staple of any Class S Yuri anime. However, the main character is far from pure and innocent.
美少女たちが感じほぐれつ。あ、あのキャラムナムド。そしてそこでまさかのネバちゃん。
Unlike some of the other offenders on this list, Kanako doesn't lean too hard into the sexually physical realm, but she does score high as a girl with one of the dirtiest minds in all of anime, I would argue. And of course, that comes with nosebleed geysers and fantasies of girls who don't even exist. On top of being a deviant, she's also quite the connoisseur on anime girls, pretty much picking up on every single cliche and character type that emboldens our fetishes. But thankfully, we have a mostly sensible cast of characters who keep her rap sheet from growing. Keep on fighting, Kanako. You'll get that harem ending someday. Number 2. Katsuragi, Senran Kagura. Arguably the greatest thing to come out of this ridiculous series. This bodacious badass stands out amongst a sea of other bodacious badasses. For starters, she's able to do what every single viewer out there can only dream of doing. Indulge in that heavenly shinobi TNA. Son of a bitch. Now, of course, the series isn't lacking on other thirsty ladies. Thank God, by the way. But Katsuragi makes it her raison d'etre to appreciate the lovely assets of all the SK girls. Well, maybe except for one. A certified ass kicker and boob juggler. There's hardly a moment in time where she isn't getting her groove on.
大丈夫。優しくするから。優しくさ。バストは90センチ。おっぱい万歳。
I'm convinced the reason the SK world is rife with so many top-heavy maidens are in order for Katsuragi to have her filled with those fantastical fun bags. Nothing else makes sense to me. Anyway, despite being the S-class powerhouse pervert that she is, there is but one way to counter her awesomeness, and that is to turn the tables around and partake in Katsuragi's own valuable assets. As glass cannons go, they can dish out heavy firepower, but can't take a mild beating. Asuka and Ikaruga better brush up on their techniques then. I'm sure Homer and Yomi would appreciate it too. Well, as customary, here's the part where we show off some honorable mentions. So take it away, you perverts. Number 1. Hiiragi Utena, gushing over magical girls. It's been a long time coming, but our queen has finally arrived. Yeah, I know the anime is still airing, but trust me, by the end of it, your entire concept of depravity will be completely changed. For she is an agent of the dark. You merely adopted the depravity. She was born in it. Molded by it. The perversion has betrayed you, because it belongs to her. So Utena's first taste of the female flesh came in the form of her beloved Magia. And after a bit of whipping and tickling, the beast inside of her awoken, and she really wants to play. It's amazing just how much pure undiluted smut her young mind is able to conjure up. I don't know if public schools have kicked things up a notch in the sex ed department nowadays, but I'm sure Utena is working in the graduate level range. Everything she does is to satisfy her uncontrollable libido. And despite the fact that she's constantly engaging in hostile skirmishes, she manages to turn them into happy playtime hour. And everyone forced to play is her little bitch. So even including all the crazy perverted characters in the series, Utena/Magia Baser still stands atop of that absolutely depraved mountain. And may the Yuri goddess bless her now and for all eternity, because her lust will span generations. Well, there you have it. A comprehensive list of all the greatest Yuri perverts I can think of. If I missed any, please let me know. After all, that's the kind of knowledge that's integral to life. So yeah, if you enjoyed this ridiculous content, then like and sub. I'm also covering gushing over magical girls too. So if you want to be a part of this messed up, crazy adventure, then stick around, because it's only gonna get wackier. Anyway, see you next time.